estranged husband showed up at my office demanding child support for his affair baby. I'm 29. My ex, Richard, is 34. We've been separated for 3 years now because he was abusive and he cheated on me. But we're not divorced. In my country, divorce is expensive, and every time I try to file, Richard insists on mediation. So the court won't grant it because they say one party is trying to save the marriage. Meanwhile, he's living with his mistress. They have a kid together, conceived while we were still married. Both of them harassed me so badly I had to get a restraining order. My employer knows everything because Richard works for the utility company that supplies our office buildings. It's one of the major suppliers in the country, so the connection was unavoidable. Because of restrictions, most of us have been working from home, only coming into the office a few days a week. One of those days, Richard decided to show up with his kid. He walked right up to reception and demanded to see me. He wanted child support money because we're still legally married. Reception knew about the restraining order. They refused to tell him if I was even there. I was. They asked him to leave. He refused, so they called security. But here's the thing. He had his child with him. Security couldn't physically remove him without risking harm to the kid, so reception did something I didn't expect. They threatened to call his employer, the utility company. Richard laughed. He didn't believe they'd actually do it. They did. Long story short, both Richard and his mistress were fired immediately. The company saw his behavior as gross misconduct, and when they investigated further, they discovered something else. Richard was his mistress's direct boss. Apparently, his employer had no idea they were together. Having a relationship with someone you directly supervise is strictly forbidden there. The utility company apologized to my employer. They even gave us a considerable discount on their services to keep the story from spreading. Ever since they got fired, my phone hasn't stopped. Unknown numbers over and over. Richard's family, his mistress's family, friends of theirs, all of them saying the same thing, that I'm responsible, that I'm just jealous, that I got them fired to try and win Richard back. Even some of our mutual friends are siding with him. They think losing his job, losing their only source of income is too harsh. They say I should have prevented it, that I shouldn't have said anything in the first place. But here's what they don't know. Richard's been spreading lies. He tells people I couldn't get pregnant, which isn't true. I never wanted kids. So his mistress helped us by having his baby. And then I overreacted and called it cheating. He says he had to stay with her to support the child. That's the story he told the court too, along with his whole I still love her, I should have communicated better routine. That's why they won't grant the divorce. They think he's trying to save the marriage and I'm being unreasonable. His family thinks it's fine to have multiple partners and be responsible for kids from affairs. They think I'm the problem. My boss, though, he's been incredible. He's frustrated with how long this has dragged on, so he connected me with a friend of his, a family lawyer. He agreed to help me at a discounted rate because he owes my boss favors. He looked at my case and said he understands why the courts have been stalling, but he thinks he can finally get the divorce granted. He works on a no-win, no-fee basis, and he believes we can win and make Richard cover all the outstanding legal fees. And no, I haven't been paying child support. The courts never instructed me to. Richard tried to claim the child is legally mine because his mistress is supposedly a surrogate, but my lawyer says that's not going anywhere. There's no evidence of any agreement. The courts can't force me to pay or accept responsibility. Richard showed up at my workplace. He violated a restraining order. He refused to leave, and his own actions got him fired.